Welcome to the Week 3 Madden CPU League recap show. Without further ado, let's start by recapping every game that went down in Week 3. Starting off with the Browns game, I actually did delete the highlight clip of that game. The full game is uploaded, but I accidentally did delete the clip. So that is the final score. I don't have the video clip. I have all the others, but I do not have the Steelers and Browns clip. So that is the final score for that game. Cleveland defeats Pittsburgh 16-10. We begin in Carolina with the Panthers and the Saints. Starting off with the opening kickoff, the Saints would fumble the ball and Carolina would immediately recover at the first play of the game, the opening kickoff. And the Panthers would recover. And Newton would take the ball all the way down the field. 3rd and 8, throws a nice touchdown pass to Rashard Higgins. Carolina on top, following the opening fumble. On the kickoff return, the extra point is good to make it a 7-0 ball game. The Saints in the second would get a field goal to cut the lead down to 4, but would still be trailing 7-3. The Panthers would kick a field goal of their own late in the second to extend the lead back to 7. But on 4th and inches in the fourth quarter, at the beginning of the fourth quarter, 4th and inches, Saints, Alvin Kamara takes it in. Touchdown, a 4th and inches, a very dangerous attempt, but 4th and inches is very easy to get, and the Saints do it. And now with the field goal up and good, it is a tie ball game. It was a tie ball game in Carolina, 10-10. Newton in the third quarter would get hit and fumble the ball. A bit of karma, and it would be fumbled in their own territory. A bit of karma for the opening kickoff, and the Saints would take it. And the Saints would take that fumble and turn it into a touchdown. Just like I said, a bit of karma for Carolina, as they would be the ones that fumbled, and the Saints would get a touchdown out of it, just like Carolina did on the opening kickoff. Cam Newton on 4th and 7. He needs this conversion. Fourth quarter, over 1 minute left. Throws. And it is almost caught, but it is incomplete. And the Saints would take a knee, and they would beat the Panthers 17-10. Well, it was a pretty close game. Karma struck the Panthers late, and the fumble would result in a touchdown for the Panthers, and the Panthers would get karma. From there, we go to the Bears game with the Texans. It's two teams who are not really that good, to be honest, but it was all right. Justin Fields, this game would be scoreless until the fourth quarter, right there with that touchdown pass to Darnell Mooney from Justin Fields to open up the scoring late in the fourth quarter. A very quiet game up till this moment. And late in the fourth quarter, with 1 minute left, the Bears would get the ball back and would kick a field goal to extend the lead to 10-0. And they would get the ball back again and just take a knee. And like I said, nothing really to show there. The Bears win 10-0, a very quiet game. But the Bears pick up the dub, and the Texans fall to 0-3. And I'm pretty sure the Bears are now like 1-2. We have to wait till I get to the standings. in Indianapolis at the Chiefs and the Colts. And I think this game could be a possible game of the week contender. I think it was a very good game through and through. Joshua Dobbs on the first play of the game throws a interception, a very contested INT. He's throwing it to a receiver, but L'Jarius Sneed beats him to it. Chris Jones was hurt on the play, but he would come back. No severe injuries there. Luckily, the Colts defense would hold, and the Chiefs would have to settle for a field goal, despite them turning the ball over in their own territory and the Chiefs having Patrick Mahomes. On 4th and 14, and late in the first quarter, Kansas City would kick another field goal to extend the lead to 6. Indianapolis, though, late in the second, Josh Dobbs on 1st and goal would throw a nice pass to Alec Pierce, and that would be the touchdown. And now it would be a tie ball game in Indianapolis, but the PAT is good, and now they have the lead by 1 point. Kansas City late in the second. Patrick Mahomes. Oh, he gets hit, and the ball comes out. The ball would come out on the hit, and Indianapolis would have it again in the Chiefs' own territory. And immediately answers with a touchdown pass to Ashton Dulin, Joshua Dobbs, and the Colts. That play would be challenged, but his feet were in bounds for sure, and the refs would indeed give him the call, and the PAT that followed would be good. And now it would be an 8-point ball game for the Chiefs. The Chiefs would not be able to get a touchdown and would have to kick a field goal on 4th and 3. But now the lead would be down to 5. The Chiefs would have to punt the ball away, but as you see right there, a roughing the kicker penalty would have called, and the roughing the kicker penalty was called, and Patrick Mahomes would get a first down, and because of that penalty would result in Kansas City getting the first down and driving down the field, finishing off with a touchdown pass to Mecole Hardman, and now the Chiefs would have the lead 15-14, going for the 2-point to make it a field goal game. Patrick Mahomes throws, and it is incomplete with 1:19 to go. And the Colts would drop. And the Colts on 3rd and 5, 15 seconds left on the clock. Joshua Dobbs needed to get a good pass and gets one off. And now they would be in field goal range, and Jonathan Taylor just takes the ball even farther up the field. And if the Chiefs would have got that field goal, if the Chiefs would have got that 2-point conversion, it would have been a tie game right there. But since they failed to get that 2-point, the Colts with that field goal would ultimately win the game. And the Colts would defeat the Chiefs 17-15. If only that 2-point conversion would have gone the Chiefs' way, we could have had an overtime game. But unfortunately, it did not. And the Colts are off to 3-0. In Miami, it was billed as a battle between Tua and Josh Allen, the QBs of their respective teams. Josh Allen, with 3:45 on the clock, throws a interception, and I think that was totally Xavier Howard that came up with that INT. The way that play was going, he was targeting Stephon Diggs, and he just ran right in front of it and delivers it all the way for a pick six. Xavier Howard with the pick six on Josh Allen. 7 PAT is good, 7-0 now for Miami. Miami on 4th and 15 would kick a field goal in the second to extend their lead to 10-0. Josh Allen on first down in the second quarter, 2 minutes, and Devin Singletary just takes it all the way for a touchdown for the Bills to cut the lead to 4. The PAT is good, so scratch that, make it 3. Well, 1 rush and 45 yards for him. Tua, though, late in the fourth quarter, would score it, would hand the ball off to Raheem Mostert, and he would take it in for a touchdown. With 1:46 left on the clock, they would take the lead back, and it would be 10 points now. Extend the lead, sorry. Josh Allen on fourth down, needing to answer, not a lot of time left on the clock anyways, throws it, and he's going for the end zone, and that would just be incomplete. And the Miami fans celebrating because they know that they've won the game down to a knee, and the Dolphins would win. Buffalo off to a start that I didn't expect, 1-2 on the season. The Dolphins 3-0. Can't say I expected that either. And the battle between Tua and Josh Allen, Tua prevails. Tua. In Minnesota, it was the Vikings and the Lions going at it, and in a matchup that I don't know exactly if I would say is like good or investing, but it was decent. Lions off to a start by kicking a field goal to take the lead 3-0. Minnesota on the kickoff would fumble the ball, and all recovered by the Lions, and that would be a fumble recovery for a touchdown on the kickoff. A kickoff return for the Lions. Just like the Panthers against the Saints, fumbles on the kickoff return. Detroit would be in their own end zone, though, and Minnesota would get to him for a safety to make it 10-2. Still trailing, but they got 2 points out of that play. However, the Lions in the fourth would just extend their lead. Minnesota unable to answer back throughout the other quarters. Jamal Williams, touchdown, 16-2. With the PAT make it 17, trailing by 15. Vikings need an answer. First and goal, 3 minutes left in the fourth quarter. Kirk Cousins throws. What a nice touchdown. They would get the touchdown. The PAT would be good. And 17-9, still having to come back from the deficit. 4th and 10, needing this one, throws it. And that play, I have no. And that play looked so close, and it would be reviewed, rightfully so. That play, I don't even know how it went. It looks like he was in bounds, but not really. A very close call for the officials to make. And what would they say? Well, they would indeed give it to him and give them the first down. On 2nd and 7, they would move the chains into 1st and goal territory. Kirk Cousins on 1st and goal, 41 seconds left to make something happen. Throws a touchdown pass to Adam Thielen. And now they just need the 2-point conversion to tie the game. On the 2-point conversion, Kirk Cousins throws it complete, but a flag comes out. And it would be a holding call on the offense, which would only back them up farther. The second attempt for the 2-point conversion, Kirk Cousins throws, and it's complete. It doesn't matter. Add the extra yardage, Kirk Cousins says. It doesn't matter. We're going to get it anyway. 17-17. The game is now tied. Kirk Cousins coming back from a deficit to lead his Vikings on the last play of the game, Kirk Cousins just heaves it, and that would actually be intercepted, and that game it would go to overtime. Detroit would open and would have to punt, or no, I think Minnesota would have the ball first actually. Yeah, no, yeah, Minnesota would open with the ball, but throw an interception to Detroit. Yes, that's what happened. But with 14 seconds left, 4 seconds left on the clock, Detroit gotta make something happen here. The end of overtime, and nothing happens, and we have another tie. I feel like every single week we have a tie in overtime, which sucks. But ultimately, there's nothing we can do about it. That's one thing that sucks. It's not like college. The overtime rules have ties, which unfortunately comes back. Kirk Cousins crawling back from a deficit but unable to pull out the win, but at least doesn't lose. And that game ends in a tie. In Baltimore, it was Mac Jones and Lamar Jackson. The Ravens and the Patriots both struggling entering the game 0-2, looking for their first win. Lamar Jackson in the first quarter throws a nice pass. The defense messes up, and it results in a touchdown for the Ravens. Rashad Bateman with the touchdown reception. Like I said, the defense messed up. And on the next gen stats, it actually would show the ball carrier speed, which is amazing. And Rashad Bateman, like I said, the defense slipped up. The dude right behind him did not follow him, and it resulted in him getting a touchdown. I think he tried to make an interception, and that's what cost him. He didn't get it, but Mac Jones and the Patriots in the second quarter, oh no, he would only get sacked. A 3rd and 18. Mac Jones, after that sack on the 3rd and 18, would throw a touchdown pass. Wow, that's amazing. You don't usually see that. He gets sacked on 2nd down, but on the 3rd down, he says, I'm going to make it into a touchdown. It don't matter. And now the game would be tied 7-7. Baltimore on 2nd and 10. Oh, Lamar Jackson would get hit. Oh, and the ball would come out. And Matthew Judon, oh, he took the fumble all the way to the end zone. Oh, I'm sorry, it was Adrian Phillips. I could have sworn that was the guy who made the play. 14-7, the Patriots would have the lead following the turnover from Lamar Jackson. The Patriots in the fourth would only extend their lead with a touchdown pass from Mac Jones, throwing it to John Mechie III. 21-7 now for the Patriots, and the Patriots would just be rolling on the Ravens. Fourth quarter with 11 seconds, Lamar Jackson's last chance to have anything happen, and he does throw a touchdown pass. And the Ravens would get the field goal, but with little time on the clock, there was really nothing they could do. The onside kick would fail, and the Patriots would win. The Patriots, off to their first win. The Ravens still struggling 0-3, looking to get back into it. Eventually, I don't know, they could just keep losing, but Patriots win. In New York, Zach Wilson and Joe Burrow were going at it head-to-head. Joe Burrow surprisingly struggling. I honestly thought the Bengals would be like literally 2-0 entering this matchup, but unfortunately they were actually 0-2. They would actually strike first with a touchdown rush by Joe Mixon. And the PAT would be good to make it 7-0. They would get a field goal on 4th and inches in the second quarter to make it 10-0. And the Bengals were rolling on the Jets early in the first half. The first half belonged to the Bengals, upping the score, but right before halftime they would kick a field goal to make the game 10-3. Now only leading by a touchdown. New York would not answer back, though, until 35 seconds left until the fourth quarter, throwing a touchdown pass to Elijah Moore. And just look at how close his feet were to going out of bounds, but he was able to pull it in for the touchdown. And the PAT would be good to make it 10-10, and that game would go to overtime. Crazy enough, the final play of the game, like I said, actually Evan McPherson would attempt a very long, no, not really very long, mid-range, but unfortunately he would miss it, and it would go to overtime. New York would open the game, it would open OT, but would have to punt it away to the Bengals. Bengals would be taken down immediately. But the clock would run out with the Bengals having the ball, and that game would ultimately go to a tie as well, just like the Vikings game against the Lions. The Bengals, they didn't lose another one, but it ends in a tie. Still don't have their first win. And I hate the games that end in a tie, I gotta be honest. In Tennessee, the Raiders come to Nashville to play the Titans. The Raiders entering this game 1-0 and won with the tie game. Tennessee would take the early lead with the field goal to make it 3-0. Well, actually, no, I'm pretty sure that lead was taken late, actually. Yeah, 55 seconds left in the second quarter. They would attempt another field goal, and it would be up and good to make it 6-0. Titans were leading early. Titans only leading by a touchdown, however. In the third quarter, the Raiders would kick their first field goal of their own, and and the lead would be cut down to 3. The touchdown lead would be cut down to a field goal lead. And the Raiders on first and goal, with right at the 2-minute warning, Derek Carr hands it off to Josh Jacobs, and Josh Jacobs takes it in for the touchdown. And the PAT is good, and now they would lead by 4 in the final 2 minutes of the ball game. Malik Willis would be on 4th and 15 with 58 seconds to go. He needs this play or the game is over, and it is incomplete. He tried to make the catch, but unfortunately, it was incomplete. The Raiders would go to a knee, and they would win 10-6. Raiders, after going to their tied week 1, have successfully won 2 straight. And they look to win more next week in their matchup. In Washington, the Commanders entering 2-0, the Eagles entering 0-2. Eagles got shut out 2 times in a row the past 2 weeks. The Commanders throwing a touchdown pass in the first quarter. Baker Mayfield, I swear Baker Mayfield has been throwing nice plays all season long in the young season. And the PAT would be up and good, 7-0. The Commanders leading early second quarter, and the Eagles would get a field goal to cut the lead down to 4. Philadelphia would throw a touchdown pass in the second quarter with over a minute to go in the game. The PAT would be good to make it 10-7. The Eagles taking the lead on the Commanders, which is insane. Also, nice to point out that the Eagles were scoreless before this game. And the Commanders would get a field goal to make it 10-10, but unfortunately, the Eagles would throw an interception. I mean, the Commanders would throw an interception, and it would be a pick 6, but a flag would come out. and ultimately the flag would be on the offense, and Philadelphia would decline to get the touchdown. Baker Mayfield on 4th and 2 would ultimately fail to convert a very close pass attempt, but it would not work. And the Eagles would get their first win against the undefeated Commanders. Crazy enough, after getting shut out 2 times in a row, the Eagles looking like they finally got back on track, defeating one of the undefeated teams coming into week 3. In LA, the Chargers and the Jaguars faced off in the fourth down in the first quarter. Jacksonville would kick a field goal that would be up and good to take the lead 3-0. They would kick another on 4th and 1 in the second quarter to make it 6-0. Only down by a touchdown, but unfortunately, right before halftime, a touchdown pass from Trevor Lawrence to Zay Jones to extend the lead to 13. The field goal would be up. The PAT would be up and good, 13-0 going into halftime. Los Angeles, though, in the fourth quarter with 3 minutes left, would strike back, throwing a touchdown pass. The PAT would be up and good, 13-7 now. Down, only trailing by a touchdown. Los Angeles, though, penalties would put them on 4th and 25, and just too much yardage to answer, and they were unable to answer. And the Jaguars would go to a knee and prevail, 13-7. So the yardage just too great for them to make an answer. The Rams and the Cardinals in Arizona. The Rams coming off a tie with the Falcons. Arizona coming off another loss in week 2. Arizona would kick the field goal in the second to open up the scoring 3-0. And Arizona late in the second with only 7 seconds left on the clock would kick another field goal to extend the lead to 6 going into halftime. In the third quarter, Los Angeles would finally march down the field and score a touchdown. Brock Purdy throwing a touchdown pass to Allen Robinson II. Now we would have a tie ball game, but the PAT would be up and good to take the lead 7-6. Arizona in the fourth with over a minute left would march down the field and get a field goal to make the lead 2 points. Only a 2-point lead, 9-7. The Cardinals would have the lead. However, the Rams, with 11 seconds left, would get down the field and get the field goal, and it would be a 1-point lead for the Rams with under 10 seconds left. And no, with that little time, there was no way the Cardinals could answer back. And 10-9, the Rams win it. Clock playing a major factor in the win for the Rams, but it doesn't matter. Everything is all right. Both teams played well, I think. In Seattle, it was the Falcons and the Seahawks going at it. The Falcons coming into the game 0-1 after the tie with the Rams and losing to the Saints in Week 1. They would strike first late in the first half with under a minute left to go in the second quarter. The Seahawks would answer back in the same position, but just at the end of the second half, kicking a field goal with under a minute left in the fourth to take the lead 3-3. But with 2 seconds left, Atlanta would attempt a game-winning field goal, and it would be incomplete. It hit the post. It hit the bottom of the post. 3-3, and the game would go to overtime. Desmond Ridder would fumble the ball, would get hit and fumble the ball, and Seattle would recover it and take it all the way to win the game in overtime. Seattle, with that defensive play, would win the game 9-3 in overtime. The defense coming up with the game-winning play, Desmond Ridder fumbling. A mistake by Ridder cost the game for the Falcons. In Tampa Bay, it was Green Bay and Tampa Bay battling, both teams coming into the game 2-0. This game was going to be good. Aaron Jones would fumble the ball in the first quarter, unfortunately, and the ball would be turned over, and it would still be 0-0. Tom Brady would take the ball, though. Third down, throws a touchdown pass to Mike Evans to open up the scoring. Tom Brady to Mike Evans to open up the scoring in the first quarter, taking the fumble, and they would immediately take the lead 7-0. Tampa Bay in the second quarter, with over 2 minutes left, would attempt a field goal, and the lead would be up to 10-0. At first, it looked like it was going to be an easy day for Tom Brady. However, in the second, with just a minute left before halftime, Aaron Rodgers would throw a touchdown pass to Robert Tonyan, the man who led the league in receiving yards after week 2, and the PAT would be good to make it 10-7, a field goal ball game. In the third quarter, Aaron Rodgers would throw another touchdown pass to Robert Tonyan once again. This man is a star this season. Like I said, leading the league in receiving yards after week 2. And Aaron Rodgers would throw another touchdown pass in the fourth with over 1 minute left to extend the lead again. Christian Watson with that touchdown reception, leading by 10 now. The field goal, the PAT would be up and good. 11-point lead now for the Packers. And with over a minute left on the clock for Brady to answer back, second down, complete. But Tampa Bay would fumble the reception, and they would get the ball back with 17 seconds left. The Packers would take a knee, and they would win the battle of the undefeateds. Packers move on to 3-0. Tom Brady suffers his first loss of the season. And that was another good game that I would say the Packers come back to win. On Sunday night, it was San Francisco and Denver going at it. Russell Wilson and Trey Lance squaring off under the lights of Sunday night. Trey Lance on the first play of the game would get hit and fumble the ball. And just like that, Denver would immediately have the ball. And Russell Wilson would take the ball on that possession up the field for a touchdown. Andrew Beck with the touchdown taken, and the field goal would be up and good to take the lead 7-0 early. The Broncos were looking to go 2-0 in this game. Trey Lance would hand it off to Christian McCaffrey, and the ball would unfortunately be fumbled again. And this was a continuing reoccurrence for San Francisco. If I remember right, I'm pretty sure they would fumble the ball 3 times total. The Broncos would get a field goal. Thankfully, the defense would hold to, and they would only get the lead to 10. The Broncos, though, would be in their own territory late in the second quarter. Russell Wilson would get taken down, and that would be a safety for the Niners. And right before halftime, they would kick a field goal to make it a 5-point game going into the half. After halftime, late in the third quarter, they would kick another field goal, and that one would be good to make the lead only 2. 2 points is what San Francisco would need to win. And on 3rd and 3, Trey Lance with 4 minutes left, Christian McCaffrey, and like I said, the fumbles, a continuing reoccurrence. I was right. 3 times they turned the ball over. And Deebo Samuel fumbles the ball, but the Broncos would have to punt. And with over 3 minutes still left on the score, what would the Niners do? The Niners would take the ball down the field, 1st and goal. Trey Lance with under a minute left. Christian McCaffrey takes it in, and now they would have the lead by 4. The PAT would make it 5 points, and it was a 15-10 ball game. Russell Wilson on 1st and 10 would get taken down by Nick Bosa. Sorry. And third down, a lot of yardage, and the reception would be good, but unfortunately, like, the yardage just too big. The Niners defense just too great. The Broncos stood no chance in answering back with that much little time left on the clock against the Niners defense. The Broncos were going 3-0, but unfortunately they fell 2-1, not being able to get the win, and the Niners get the win over the Broncos. On Monday, it was Dallas and New York in the final game of Week 3 to conclude the week. Dallas in the second quarter with a field goal on 4th and 9, and that field goal is good to take the lead 3-3 Dallas. Dallas taking the lead early in that one. The Giants, under a minute left in the second quarter, would kick a field goal, and that one would be good to tie the game at 3. Not able to get touchdowns, but marching down the field just enough to get field goals. Right before halftime, Dallas would attempt another field goal, 4th and 1, 2 seconds left, kicks it, it is up, but it falls, and it is not good, and it goes to halftime 3-3. Dallas would come out of the half, third quarter, with a minute left, throws a nice touchdown pass to CeeDee Lamb. Dak Prescott to CeeDee Lamb, and the Cowboys would take the lead 9-3. The PAT would be up and good. 7-point lead now for the Cowboys. 2 minutes left in the game. Another field goal up, and that one is good to make it 13-3, extending the lead to 10. The Giants now would have to answer back with haste, but unfortunately they would not be able to, and Dak Prescott would just take a knee in the final seconds, and the Cowboys would close out Week 3 with a win over the Giants. look at the player stats now. As you should see, Kirk Cousins is back on top in passing yards. He led the league in passing yards after week 1, lost it in after week 2 to Desmond Ridder, but overtook it after week 3, and now he leads the league in passing yards. Alvin Kamara overtook Jonathan Taylor's spot as the season rushing leader by just 1 yard, however. Robert Tonyan still leads the league in receiving yards. He led it after week 2 and leads it again after week 3. Colton Miller, the top in blocking. And you can see all the defensive sides. I don't really go into too much detail on the defense because it's a lot of just tackles. I mean, the sacks and stuff. As you can see it. The reason why I don't really go into detail on these is because I have to scroll down and really look at them to see who leads the league in sacks and stuff. But there's also another. I think I know something I'm actually going to add in to this one, so we'll get back to this. And on kicking, longest field goal I believe is right there, 62-yarder from Chris Boswell. That's actually insane. A 60-yarder from Eddie and Arrow, and all these kickers that are still perfect on the season. A lot of these people have kicked really good field goals. Another 62-yarder from Evan McPherson. That's all about the kicking. And that's really all for the player stats after week 3. Now I look at the team stats. The Vikings are now in front on the total offense. Last time I checked, I'm pretty sure they were not on top after week 2. Now they are after week 3. They are at the top. The Browns are now at the top. The Colts have the top spot in the defensive side, but now the Browns do. The Colts still leading conversions. I think they've been there since week 1. The Bengals were in red zone efficiency last week, and then still not a lot of penalties committed by many teams. It's very good, and the Dolphins still lead the league in turnovers with 2 giveaways and 14 takeaways. That is crazy. It's crazy defense for them, and that is it for the team stats. Here's a look now at what I was talking about. It says top performers on the right, and you can kind of see, and it goes into more detail. It doesn't show the touchdowns exactly, but it shows for example, it's really used for down at the bottom. I could do the 3 at the player stats that I usually show, but this one shows the sack leaders, which Myles Garrett has with 7, interception leaders Xavier Howard with 7, and then 20 and then the tackle leaders. So that's really what I wanted to show, and that's something I'm going to start adding in every week because it goes into more detail who is leading the league, and I probably won't have to show that other player stat menu. Here's a look at the players of the week after week 3. Aaron Rodgers, 20 for 23, 197 yards, 3 touchdowns, 2 carries, -2 rush yards. On the AFC side, Rashad Bateman with 3 receptions for 89 yards, 29.7 average, and 2 touchdowns. On the defensive side, from the Eagles, 5 tackles, 2 interceptions, 1 for fumble recovery, and 1 touchdown. That is insane. And Myles Garrett on the AFC side, 6 tackles, 4 sacks, and 3 forced fumbles. And those are the players of the week. And here's a look at the standings after week 3. The Packers, Dolphins, and the Colts are all spotless, 3-0 at 3-0 and 0. No tie games. The Browns and the Raiders and the Rams are undefeated, but have 1 tie. I say undefeated because of that tie. I mean, they technically haven't lost a game. So, yes, they are still undefeated, but they aren't 3-0 because they had a tie game. And then the Buccaneers, they fell to the Packers in a clash of unbeatens. The Saints 2-1. The Broncos were unable to go 3-0. Seahawks 2-1. Steelers 2-1. A lot of the teams are 2-1, and a lot of teams are also 1-1, 1-2. a lot of teams not in positions that I didn't expect them to be in. I did not expect the Chiefs to be 1-2. I didn't expect the Bills to be 1-2. I definitely didn't expect the top teams to be 3-0. Maybe the Packers, but not the Colts or the Dolphins. But yeah, that is the standings after week 3. Packers number 1. For at least that's what it says. So I guess they're the top team so far. But yes, that is it for the standings. And that is going to do it for the Week 3 recap show. Be sure to tune in this Thursday, 8:15 p.m. for the Dolphins at the Bengals. The Dolphins will be looking to go 4-0 against the Bengals, who are struggling on the early season. Had a tie game against the Jets in Week 3, but other than that, they lost 2 straight. So we'll see what they can pull out this Thursday. And that will follow throughout the entire week, concluding with Rams and the 49ers on Monday.